In 1831, the first Indian residential school opened in Brantford, Ontario. In 1876, the federal government adopted the Indian Act, which put all Aboriginal children into its custody. In 1920, residential school attendance became mandatory for all Aboriginal children between the ages of 6 to 15. Children were torn from their families and taken to the residential schools. In 1991, the Erasmus Dassault Commission estimated that over the course of the last century, some 100,000 Aboriginal children attended one of the 135 Indian residential schools, day schools, or vocational schools. All these establishments shared the same objective: the assimilation of Aboriginal children. In 1996, the last residential school was closed in Quebec. Close to 13,000 First Nations and Inuit children attended more than 10 Indian residential schools throughout the Quebec territory. The loss of identity, of language, and of culture is incalculable, as are the psychological and sociological after effects caused by the residential schools.
Those who have no possessions are said to wander endlessly. And yet, someone who carries his entire life on his back travels far. Did the first peoples of the Americas unknowingly resign themselves, relinquishing all of their possessions, their spirit and their substance, their space and their time? When did they begin to lose trace of their being? The old world no longer exists, and they no longer exist in the new world that was imposed on them. Where can they withdraw to pray to the Creator? Their history is ancient. It flows down the rapids and is lost in the depths of the great river. Thousands of years ago, the Great Spirit created the earth and its inhabitants. Men formed families, tribes, nations, and even confederations. For more than 10,000 years, the Aboriginal people occupied the lands of the Americas. They were known for mutual respect, humility, courage, and collaboration. They were proud and free. They had lands, flourishing trade, abundant food. We have all heard this from our fathers and our grandfathers, who heard it from their fathers and grandfathers before them. Mali, my granddaughter, this is my testament. You accompanied my body to the sacred land. You know that my spirit lives on, and nothing will destroy it. We are part of an endless circle. I have within me all the voices that speak of the ancient world, of our world. You, the youth, cannot hear these voices clearly. They have been weakened by the loss of this world. You need proof. How can you be convinced of the existence of the Creator who patiently watches over us? And yet, He reveals Himself. He speaks through our tongues. The language of our ancestors speaks of a real world, a living world, that of our traditional homes, where the language told our legends, taught our laws, what there must be for life to continue, for man to exist. But today, Mali, you must hear me. I have in me many voices. They flow through me. They flow in the great river. They flow to you. The days I was given have now run out. I must tell you the rest of our history. I know I should be there by your side. I should not leave you alone, and I should listen to you. But you will understand. Until now, I could not speak. My voice would have been like venom to you. The time has come. Today, I give you life. You know, when the Europeans first came among us, they were like us. They were men. They moved like men. They died like men. We helped them settle here. And because of our values, we were unsuspecting. Little by little, we gave in. We let all our possessions go. They trespassed on our hunting and fishing grounds. This greatly affected our economy. We neglected our spirituality, our languages, and our traditions. We allowed other laws to replace our own. With each loss, our existence was diminished. And yet, we still resisted. We closed the circle again, a little farther away. And then they passed the Indian Act, depriving us of our rights, our identity. Still, we resisted. They understood. They took away our future. They took our children and shut them away in residential schools. They wanted the assimilation and ultimate disappearance of our peoples, of our nations.
Je pense que ça s'est fait vite, là. On les a casés, là, puis qu'est-ce qui se passe, là? En tout cas, les policiers étaient là. Ils parlaient des policiers à un moment donné, la GRC, qui venait chercher les gens, les jeunes, dans les communautés, entre autres de la Basse-Côte, puis les religieux qui venaient chercher les enfants dans la famille.
Le souvenir de mon départ, là, ça a été vraiment le silence puis l'impuissance de mes parents, mes grands-parents. Je suis partie avec un gros point d'interrogation. Rendu là-bas, on a été séparés. J'ai été séparée avec mes frères, mes sœurs. J'ai été séparée avec ma famille. C'était vraiment plusieurs années de séparation. Dans mon enfance, ça a été ça.
This never should have happened. Never. We all believed that we had no choice. We were nothing but Indians. We had no future. We needed another language, another God, another history to be accepted by them in our own land. We believed them. They took our children, sometimes for 10 months every year, sometimes forever. I was there, Mali. I was one of those children. I saw little children be hit, abused, work hard day after day, be humiliated in a language they did not understand. I heard these little children, their tears and sobs smothered in their sheets and by their anger. I saw them waste away in despair. Some died. Someday we will write down their names with an eagle feather, and we will speak of them as they deserve.
Là-bas au pensionnat, on m'a appris là, que nous, les Indiens, on valait rien. On comprenait rien. On savait rien.
We were no longer allowed to exist. When we finally got out, and when we finally returned home, we had become no one at all. We were not whites, but we often felt like we were no longer children of the first peoples.
Mon nom c'est Alfred. C'est ça comme ça qu'ils m'appelaient lorsque j'ai arrivé ici au pensionnat. Ils ont même voulu changer mon nom. Après le baptistère que j'ai vérifié, mon nom c'est Fred Laurent Kistabiche. Ça c'est mon vrai nom.
No one recognized us. No one welcomed us. Our parents were ashamed of their children, and we were ashamed of ourselves. We had learned another language, true enough, but nothing that could have been of any use to us in our communities. We felt ignorant, powerless. It lasted so long. We kept on dying. We were not taught how to live. Survival is a strange thing, Mali. It is not the same as living. They taught us to lie, to hide our face, to feel nothing.
Vous êtes retrouvés au pensionnat, mais retourne voir les parents. Imagine les parents, là, du jour au lendemain, il n'y a pas un enfant dans la communauté. Imagine qu'est-ce que ça a fait aux parents, tu sais.
Quand on désapprend, on n'a pas la capacité ou l'opportunité d'apprendre comment être un père, une mère, un grand-père, une grand-mère, un oncle, une tante, durant 6 générations successives, ça ne peut qu'avoir des conséquences très néfastes sur les familles amérindiennes.
We were shut away for such a long time. We no longer knew how to love our parents or take care of our children, how to trust, how to give and receive tenderness, nor how to take responsibility. We had become deaf and mute. We struck out in turn, but it brought us no relief, nor did it ease the pain, the fear, the shame, the emptiness, the loss and the anguish.
On a tout gardé ça en dedans de nous autres, fait que ça fait comme... c'est comme pourri en dedans de nous autres, puis on a gardé ça en dedans de nous autres pendant des années, puis là, mais ça a eu la difficulté de vivre, ça a eu la difficulté d'avoir notre identité, puis la manière qu'on pense, la manière qu'on vit. On ne savait pas ce qu'on est. On était toutes brisées en dedans à cause de ce qui nous a fait au pensionnat. Parce que dans le pensionnat, ça a été très dur. C'était violence verbale, qu'on était des sauvages, qu'on a appris notre histoire du Canada avec... qu'on brûlait les missionnaires, qu'on était... imagine quand tu es jeune, là, quand tu es petite, là, tu crois tout ça, qu'est-ce que ton peuple a fait. Fait que tu es gêné, tu as honte d'être un Indien.
When the Royal Commission on Aboriginal Peoples was made public, the damages were seen everywhere, within us and all around us. The residential schools stood empty. Some were torn down. In many cases, the legacy of the residential schools was devastating. Alcohol, drugs, violence, insanity, prison, hopelessness, and loss of identity. At last, the time has come that we could never have hoped for, and for which we never even had a word. The voices of the survivors have reached our ears. Few at first, but more and more numerous. The story was told. We heard the residential schools, aggression against life, contempt for First Nations culture, destruction of respect and self-image, families torn apart. We recognized ourselves, our grandfathers, our mothers, our ancestors, for more than 6 generations. One day, a voice said, "The damage is done. Now the healing must begin."
La guérison, je pense, ça commence quand on s'aperçoit qu'il y a quelque chose qui ne marche pas à l'intérieur de soi. Et puis, c'est certain, j'ai consommé beaucoup. Moi aussi, j'étais autodestructeur envers moi-même. L'alcool, j'en ai pris, j'ai tout fait. Puis, quand j'ai vu qu'il n'y avait pas vraiment... que je m'en allais vers la dérive encore, puis c'est là que je me suis aperçu qu'il fallait que j'essaie de me ramener au bord, là, puis, pour essayer de connaître un petit peu de tranquillité. Puis la guérison, c'est pas quelque chose qui se fait comme ça. Tu sais. Puis, moi, je dirais aussi qu'on a besoin des autres aussi pour se guérir. Tranquillement, j'ai senti qu'il fallait que quelque chose change dans ma vie. Pas nécessairement pour moi, mais j'ai des enfants maintenant. Je suis 3 fois grand-père, puis ça, j'y pense beaucoup. Je ne veux pas leur laisser d'héritage d'un père qui était tout déséquilibré.
We were not well, Annie. The sickness that devours us is not of us. It is in us. We can destroy it without destroying ourselves. Many began to organize, to take charge. They gathered together. They talked, got therapies. Others rediscovered their spirituality, their language, their traditions. Many turned to others for help or to give help, a hand extended to an outstretched hand. To heal, we must have reconciliation among families, among nations, and with non-natives too. And one day, we must forgive.
Chaque personne a quelque chose à aller guérir en soi, que ce soit la séparation des parents, la langue, la culture, l'identité. Puis le plus important, c'est qu'on a perdu notre spiritualité. Il y a toujours moyen de s'en sortir, d'aller chercher les outils. Il y a déjà beaucoup de monde autour qui sont prêts à aider. C'est de chercher des outils. Je pense aux jeunes qui sont dans la drogue, dans la boisson, dans la violence, là. Je souhaite vraiment, s'ils cherchent, là, de trouver leur guérison. Commencer une guérison. C'est long, c'est pas facile, c'est tous les jours.
Il y a des gens qui sont tellement perturbés par rapport à des expériences qu'ils ont vécues. Puis la guérison, ben, c'est un peu amener les gens là, à se prendre en main puis se dire qu'on peut faire des choses positives là, pour... on parle souvent les Autochtones, ils parlent souvent de la 7e génération. Alors que, c'est certain, nous autres, on va essayer de se guérir, nous autres, pour les 7 générations à venir. C'est ça l'objectif, mais la guérison, c'est pas facile, puis c'est pas quelque chose qu'on peut vivre du jour au lendemain.
Pour commencer, il faut avoir notre voix. Il faut avoir droit à notre propre voix. Et puis, ça veut dire s'accepter comme on est, prendre la vie à partir d'aujourd'hui, pas à partir d'hier. Je n'insisterai jamais assez sur la nécessité d'avoir des contacts entre peuples autochtones.
Today, our voices are being heard. They claim our spirituality, our traditions, our languages, and our identity. They prepare our return to health, knowledge, resources, and independence. I promise you, Mali, my voice announces the world that we want for you. Not long ago, someone spoke to us of commemoration. Most of us had no idea what this meant. Now we understand better.
La commémoration, c'est comme de se mettre ensemble pour se rappeler. Prendre un temps d'arrêt, puis se rappeler, puis pas nécessairement être amer, mais pour dire que à l'avenir, ben, ça va être différent.
Many feel that it is too soon to commemorate, that healing, forgiveness, and reconciliation will be long and hard. This is true, but to commemorate is also to hand down, to make sure that our history is never forgotten.
The next generation should remember that they were trying to suppress our traditions and our language and our culture, and they couldn't do it. So they should remember to keep trying our traditional ways.
This is part of our collective memory. In the history of Canada, when we spoke of Indians, it was always negative. The history of the residential schools must be told. It must be taught in every school so that Canadians know exactly what happened to us. The other day, I heard the Prime Minister apologize to the First Peoples in recognition that the residential school system was a crime committed against the Aboriginals. Most do not believe in this apology. They are afraid that it will lead nowhere, that there will just be a bit of money, but no action toward reparations. I think that it is important. It is public recognition of their responsibilities. Believe me, there are many who do not understand or who simply don't know. They must learn. An elder once told me, we must not only tell history as it was, but also as it should have been. We must tell and write who we are, what we experienced, what we have contributed. Above all, we must tell all the peoples of the First Nations.
Yes, they should have like a day of recognition. They have like certain days, Indian days. They should have a day of recognition of those who went to residential school, because some of those kids did not survive. They did not come home, so we should have a statue or something made up. Not in one place particular, it could be just anywhere, or a meeting once a year to say that we were at the residential school. If they want us to yield, they'll have to do meetings like recognition.
We are this tenacity for life, this identity of which we no longer doubt. Our future resides in the strength of the individual and of the community as a whole. You too must be able to say,
Je suis fière d'être indienne aujourd'hui parce que j'ai travaillé fort pour être rendue là. Parce que là, j'ai su comment j'étais forte d'être indienne. J'ai su comment que je pouvais aider du monde en tant qu'indienne. J'ai su aussi que je pouvais donner la force aux autres.
The Canadian government has shown that it cannot ensure our safety. We must share responsibilities with it. Affirm our right to freedom and to self-governance. One day, we will speak of all this. Together, we will celebrate our triumph over death and disappearance, over violence, over the madness of men. And that is when we will become that which we have always should have been.
C'est en regardant où est-ce qu'on veut arriver ensemble, comme humanité, comme collectivité humaine. Et puis c'est comme ça qu'on va se guérir. C'est comme ça qu'on va jouer notre rôle aussi comme autochtones.
We not only survived, we resisted. We are eternal. Never forget this, Mally. I leave you, my dear child, my future. I will celebrate you in eternity.
Today, 3 times more First Nations children are taken into protective custody outside their community than the number of children that were sent to residential schools. The cause is neglect, fueled by poor housing, poverty, and substance abuse, often traced to the residential schools and aggravated by the fact that First Nations children receive much fewer government and social services than other Canadians. Cindy Blackstock, First Nations Child and Family Caring Society of Canada, 2008. Now more than ever, we must work together to create change for present and future generations of First Nations children, youth, and families. The time for healing and reconciliation is upon us.